Hello and welcome back to LEGO City Undercover. This is BioEnchanted and today we have a construction site to infiltrate. So let's head down there, shall we? Once we get out of this little pit. Of course we have a few little things to take care of on the way, and I quite like this little weeping willow. It's a pretty cool model there. They leave this area an interesting aesthetic. Especially considering it's only by this construction site that they really appear, and a few other small areas as well, but for the most part they're sequestered to these little areas. A lot of the trees here are the standard trees you find around the rest of the city, like those things there. But they definitely do a good job of giving a kind of Mediterranean feel to the Mediterranean area.
Great. Whiplash.
So it says the construction site, which is only over here. Well, once I've taken care of a few other things as well, there's a few things I want to show off here. So let's build a stunt ramp. Because I might as well get around to building that, otherwise I probably won't. For a while anyway. I quite like the stunt ramps. They're very limited in how they're applied, but some of them, like this one, are actually going to be used in races, which makes them a little more interesting, because it gives you an interesting route to... That was a close one, navigate. This roof is not really used so much, unfortunately, because it could have been an interesting place to hide some secrets. As it is, all it really is this little rooftop with a couple of these small super bricks in it, which feels a little disappointing, but there we go. I mean, there's nothing hidden behind that wall. This is pretty much all that was there. Just 2,000 bricks, not really worth it, but I just thought I'd show this place off, because we won't really be coming here that much. Oops! Well, this actually gives me a pretty good opportunity to show off something else. That was a little awkward, the animation there, but there we go. Yeah, I don't like boats because they tend to make you swim. Luckily, I think if I'm correct, I only really need to use the boat that's not in a racing thing once more in this game. Unless there's something I'm forgetting about, but as far as I'm aware, there's only one area that I explicitly need one of these kind of boats to get to. But we'll be seeing that in post-game stuff later on, much later. And I can be asked to actually find a boat that's not a race. That could have been bad, but luckily I didn't get stuck on the shore like around here, because if I got stuck on the shore, it would have just ended the run there. Would have had to start the whole race again, and that would have been annoying. Luckily, this particular one's fairly lenient, and this boat's fairly easy to control. But there are a few boat races that take you a little too close to certain land masses, or to a few maze-like ones, which can result in you getting pretty much stuck, and that can really be terrible. But this is a pretty fun one. It takes us down the length of the beach, gives us a good look at the area, and allows us to explore a little bit of this roller coaster area too, which I quite like. Generally, Paradise Sands has a neat kind of layout that I really enjoy, because on the one hand you have the hotels and everything like that, and on the other hand you have where the people staying in the hotels will come to play. It gives the area a very unified visual theme, in that it's the holiday place where everyone goes to just chill out and have fun. Similar to the shopping mall actually on the other side of the island. I quite like that these are pretty much on the extreme east and extreme west as well. The island's basically bookended east and west by shopping malls and amusement parks and other leisurely things, while also having pagoda in the far west of this island, as well as having the Mediterranean in the far east. which is fairly neat. That was just me checking something, it wasn't available yet. I thought that was kind of a cool kind of balancing kind of aesthetic though, to have the specifically cultural areas directly opposing each other, but not by having Pagoda be in the east and the Mediterranean being in the west, which would have been a little overly stereotypical and a little too on the nose. The fact that they actually switched them is a bit more interesting.
Frank told me about your break in the Rex Fury case.
He remembered?
Yeah, he's really improved. I think he wants to be like you. So, you near the yard?
Yeah. I'll get there soon. Sorry, it's an emergency.
If I hadn't wasted that time, we never would have heard that plot beat. Frank Honey is getting better at his job, which is impressive. I'm sure a lot of people probably thought he'd either, like, turn evil or die. It's interesting to see they're actually making him better at his job, so that's pretty neat. Because it's something that wouldn't actually be brought up in the plot otherwise, really. So it's kind of nice. So here we are, at my least favourite level, High Steel.
Are you sure you turned the power off?
Yeah, the light went red on the fuse box. Oh, by the way, my doctor told me I was colorblind this morning.
Are you stupid? Somebody, get him to the chopper. I mean hospital. Now who's going to cover his shift?
Not me.
No way.
I've got plans. Nope.
No way.
How about me?
You are plumbing a water main, not saving the world, Dumkov. Fine. You need a uniform. You, give him your clothes, your helmet, and your hammer.
No, it's okay. I'll find another one.
I take umbrage with his impersonation. It's pretty poor,
Hey,
really.
You'll need to move that barrel. Push it over by that cone and stuff.
And this is his entire shtick.
I gotta
He
figure out
always
who my
slips
contact is in
Arnie's
this place.
movie titles into his dialogue. Over and over again. It's his only joke.
Hurry and get through the door. Don't you have it?
That one was actually one I didn't even notice until this playthrough. It was all the code and stuff thing. I didn't put it together in my head properly. But here we go, we at least get our final outfit. But yeah, he kind of falls into a lot of traps that I feel a lot of Arnold Schwarzenegger impressionists tend to fall into.
Listen, fix
But
that
we'll see a
fuse
few of
box.
those.
I don't need any more collateral damage.
Because also, he doesn't seem to put much effort into the performance as well. All of his lines are fairly flat. They're just generically growly. He doesn't really put any real panache into his voice acting. It's just a vaguely Austrian sounding
I got a
accent.
message from Rex. He wants you to get a crane from this place. Gotta go.
Well, that was to the point.
It's a fairly basic impersonation, really. It's
From carrying around bricks all day.
it's like he's trying too hard to keep the accent going without actually remembering to perform.
Don't worry about smashing that crate. It's expendable.
And for these kind of lines, that's fine, because these are fairly bland lines in general. But it's the fact that he's constantly following you around and just constantly making little comments about everything. It's not so much that his jokes are bad, it's that there's so many of them. And while a few of them do work, for the most part I find them just kind of tiresome. The level overall though isn't poorly put together, it's a well put together level. At least playing through it isn't too bad, it's just the poor impression kind of drags the whole thing down.
I can't wait to have a cup of joe.
Well, let's take care of this now. Once we've taken care of this, almost forgot about this collectible, so let's just quickly make sure that we haven't missed any of those before we move on. Because now I remember, we need to break these boulders. I don't think there weren't any in this area, that was pretty much the only one, just to introduce the boulders of this level. Take that. That's what you get for that poor impersonation you're doing.
Oh, that gate needs repairing. Did you not hear it jingle all the way?
There's also all those noises he
That
seems to
steamroller
make,
was
which
fun,
is one of those
but have you
things
got
where,
something
like,
a bit bigger I can drive? Like crane?
Trust you with a crane? You look like a girly man.
Thanks.
Show me that you're a real construction worker. Fix the hoist controls over there. I think some other girly man left the parts in that pool.
that's another thing I take umbrage with this. His insistence on the phrase girly man, which is not something I've ever actually heard Arnold say in anything. It seems to only ever be people doing bad impersonations of Arnie that say that phrase, ever. Unless I just haven't seen the movie in which he actually utters that statement, but it's just a stupid thing to say. It just goes through impersonating a bit buff guys, but of course he must be obsessed with gender stereotypes and men being tough as well. Yeah, this is me being an idiot.
I could be an architect.
That was entirely on me.
Drawn pictures of houses. I was doing that when I was 5.
I like that guy's joke though, he's funny.
Maybe if we drank less coffee and did more building work, we'd finish these projects sooner. I hope we don't have to build
There
any
we
more
go.
projects for that Escher guy again.
All this one seems particularly pointless actually, this teleport. It just kind of brings us up here, which would be handy if we needed those studs for filling the meter. That's pretty much all this place is for, is the meter filling. But it just kind of, otherwise, because you would like to have multipliers by this point, it just feels very ancillary to the entire level, really. But here's something that the construction worker can do. Unlike most of the other outfits, they're union. Which means coffee breaks whenever the hell they want. Which is a cute little gag. And finally we see what these shinies are for. These are all shimmery surfaces that like jitter around when you're doing stuff. That we've seen in previous levels as well. They've been taunting us for a while. I was just looking for more of these coffee things here so I don't miss any, because this is a level I don't really want to need to get too much more done in on a replay. Partially because the voice acting just kind of lets it down and it just plays every single time you're in the level. Which is kind of obnoxious because this particular level, just as I contend, isn't particularly funny, in my opinion. It's got some decent puzzles, but the constantly poor accent just kind of takes it down. There's also a few of the noises that this Schwarzenegger impersonator seems to make are ones that I've never actually heard Schwarzenegger make. Again, they seem to be
Well, the first floor
mostly things that...
But the second floor, that's another story.
I like that gag, that's cute. But it just generally seems like a lot of Schwarzenegger impersonations fall into kind of the trap of make a vaguely Schwarzeneggerian sounding noise, even if it's not one he's ever actually made himself. It feels very like they haven't really, like, it's kind of like the kind of impression someone who's never actually seen a Schwarzenegger movie would come up with if pressed to do one. Again, a lot of these references I'm probably not catching because I haven't seen the right movies. But a lot of the weird random vocalizations they all make are ones that you don't really hear on making outside of a few of his comedies, like, say, Kindergarten Cop. But even then, he doesn't make any, like, random guttural noises. Even then, those have, like, some purpose to them. Or their actual dialogue.
Find the parts!
That's one of the noises I always hate in his impersonations, that weird vocalization that I've never heard him actually say. Again, there's a lot of this guy has a lot of hallmarks of bad Schwarzenegger impersonation that I've heard all over the place. And the other impersonators I've seen in this game tend to be doing a fairly decent job. Like the Vinnie Popolado, that kind of thing. He has the right kind of edge to his voice to be doing a pretty decent sounding Pesci. But this guy is just so, like, vaguely Austrian.
Idiots! Use explosives to get rid of it!
Some of this area has some pretty funny lines from him, but a little too few and far between.
On. Don't you understand a simple command? Oh? No reply? Good.
Oh, I just got that one as well, literally just now, the commando. I always thought, again, because it's put as two separate sentences, my brain never passed that one. But even then, they're fairly, that's kind of, even it's kind of a stretch, really.
Oh no, the elevator won't work. Fix the fuse box above it.
Sounds like his actor's actually actively hurting him now. Oh!
I can still feel where that brick landed on me.
So I've noticed that a lot of bad impersonations tend to just kind of do random lines or titles of the things they've been in, trying to sound like how they sounded in that particular situation, but never really thinking of the context behind the statement, as opposed to actually trying to, I don't know, work out the phonemes that person tends to use in their accent, that kind of thing, and work out how they actually sound at rest.
The fire out. Wait a second. Why is the building even on fire? Which stupid set the building on fire?
How do I tell him that I don't like coffee?
That one I actually kind of like, that's pretty funny, but for the most part, yeah.
I think my cousin was fired from the police force for not liking donuts. That or stealing a computer.
There's my main problem with this character as well, is that there are a lot of better jokes in the construction site that aren't delivered by him. Because they're jokes that are taking into account the context behind what someone's saying and how they can play with it, as opposed to just random references.
Shut off the gas valve. Use your strength.
But yeah, it definitely feels like a very nebulous impression. Because it's not even an impersonation, it's more of a vague impression, right? He's got the idea of how Arnold should potentially sound in the mind of someone who's never actually heard him.
Are you a girly man?
And what's with the girly man thing as well? It's so weird. Schwarzenegger's never been that mean-spirited in his performances. That particular vehicle token, by the way, is a bit of an arse to find if you don't know if it's there.
Something I can help with?
Because he can't get back up there.
I dropped the key to the gate shed and the guard dog ran off with it.
Can't you just take the key back off of it?
Oh, yeah, sure. Oh, no, wait. I actually want to keep both my hands.
You can put them back on. It'll be fine. Yeah, a little minor puzzle here.
I wish I hadn't eaten my lunch. Then I might have been able to lure that dog out of his kennel.
Poor boy. I do like that the dog's footprints go to the bowl first where he picks up the bone, and then to the actual place where he buried it. That's a pretty nice little attention to detail. That's pretty cool. So I always appreciate that kind of visual storytelling in games. It's always pretty fun. Because it shows that the people put thought behind how a character would move, even such a minor one as this dog,
You just saved my neck, buddy. Go
who
on.
barely even counts as
Use
a
it to
character,
get
but
into
they
the
thought about what
key
he
house.
did to get rid of the bone. And again, it's very minor, but I like that kind of stuff. Generally, if a game does a lot of little things right, I can actually forgive a few big things done poorly. Unless it's done particularly poorly. Like, sometimes in bad games, I can actually keep going because I'm intrigued by what they're doing with some aspect of it, as I've discussed in my other LPs, like with Ghost Hunter and stuff. So it's nice to see that kind of attention to detail in AAA games as well. Because of course you expect them in those kind of games, but you know what I mean. So this is a little puzzle over here. I say puzzle, but it's really just go to the dirt patches and dig them up. And of course this is all for the usual, for this kind of area, it's all for super bricks. I think it's either randomly assigned which thing it's in, or it's always the third one of those two, or it's always the particular dirt patch, but either way it's kind of, feels kind of arbitrary. This is definitely a kind of a padding thing, as it feels like anyway, but there we go. We've got a pretty big super brick there, that's nice. And let's try and get to that final dirt patch, because it's probably hiding something else. If these levels have taught me anything, it's always do everything you can with every tool. Knew it! Oh, it just kind of bounces there. So here we go, let's get these super bricks now. This part of the level's fairly literally flat, honestly. There's not really a lot to it. It's got some neat little aspects to it in certain areas, but for the most part it's pretty much a flat plane that you drive an RC crane around. There's not really much to it. Oh, this little bit is kind of neat though. I think it's also potentially optional, this little thing you can do. It's a nice little thing you can do. It's this little challenge here. Not really a challenge, but this little area where the objective is just break everything. Just give you a shit ton of little things to break, and a jackhammer is just like, go for it, have fun. And this part is kind of fun, just it's satisfying watching all of the objects just kind of explode everywhere. And it's a good way of showing you, without a tutorial, the area of effect that the jackhammer has. Because of course it creates a localized earthquake, so of course it has an area of effect. And quite a large one too. This was the thing I almost forgot about, this set of bricks. I like that little logo, that's cute. There we go. Set over here now. There's quite a few things we can do around here before we actually move on with finishing the actual level. So let's get that done. Now, at least in this part of the level, whatever the character's name is, leaves you alone. He stops talking to you because he gets left behind in the first area. So that at least is something nice about this part. We don't need to hear that accent again. There we go. Yeah, it's weird that a few of those are just putting those little random crate things because they feel very hard to notice. They feel like they wouldn't. You wouldn't really think twice about looking at them again. You wouldn't have a second look at them, is what I meant there. But I was just making sure I've got everything in this area, and we have. So let's finally move on. Beyond this gate.
Oh, there you are.
What? How did you...
I'm not Albert. I'm Werner, his twin.
Oh! Huh! I thought you'd look different.
So, you want to drive a crane, eh?
Yes!
Then you better build it first.
Oh!
Come on, build it!
Double trouble, what fun. And of course you have to work in a reference to twins in there, the beloved Danny DeVito vehicle. Which Schwarzenegger of course as well.
That super build.
That movie was cute, I haven't seen it in a long time, but I remember it being kind of cute. Those things feel like you should be able to break them, but you can't. That kind of annoys me. Wanna break it? Wanna wreck it? You never know when there's stuff hidden in those things. Thought that was breakable, it looked like loose blocks, but it was just cinder blocks, so that was me being foolish. Come on, you know which one's the thing to use, you know which tool you need, just do it. I'm a bit of an idiot in this level for some reason. I seem to have a lot of trouble remembering what I need to do for what. This is just me making sure again that I haven't missed anything. And I haven't, so come on me, back to the crane. We're done here. There we are. I do like the design of the crane. It's a pretty cool looking vehicle.
You think you can
Of course it is, it's a crane.
train over to that building? Hurry!
At least Werner, while he's still not particularly good impression, doesn't pepper it with low effort reference humour, which at least is a little bit better. He's not trying to be funny, but he wouldn't be in the first place. IMO. I like the baby crane over there. Like a pair of parents. Again, just making one last sweep to make sure I haven't missed anything stupid or big. Because I know that there's one thing in this level that I haven't got yet. And I looked it up after beating the level, and I know where it is, and it's not in here, so.
Pick up the pipes. I could pick them. Hey, put it in the right trench. Now, do the other ones.
Are you going somewhere?
But yeah.
Don't worry. I'll be back.
I hope
At
you
least
don't
that
mind if the crew
is
isn't here when you return,
not just
because
it's
I'm
got
gonna
like
use it to
context
pick up
behind the
Rex
reference, that
with
one.
the very long
Still
arm of
silly,
the
but
law.
I can forgive and I'll
Wasn't
be
too
back.
bad.
I can forgive and I'll be back, but a dark it goes against the Geneva Convention. Here we go, let's just take him for a little trip, shall we? Come on, mate, let's go. You're done here.
Rex will be real happy.
Yeah, let's go drive this to wherever Rex is.
You're such a kidder, Jimmy. We're using the crane to get something else. I'll open the gate so you can get it out of here.
So, let's finish taking this guy outside, shall we?
Get out of the crane, Jimmy.
Sure, just give me a second. Hey there.
Thanks. I gotta drive it up to the observatory. Stay here and see if anyone follows me. I get the feeling someone might try and infiltrate the gang tonight.
No.
Yeah! Ah. Grr. Meet me up there in 10 minutes!
Sure.
I am brilliant at disguises. Ah, of all the days to leave my glasses at home! Oh.
I do like the box antique, so that's a pretty good ending cutscene to balance out the laziness of the level's humor overall. Again, I know people do like that level's humor, but in my personal opinion, it's my least favourite. Because it feels like the least effort's put into it, because it's just entirely references. We get some neat vehicles, some construction working vehicles, so that's nice. We get construction worker out of it too. We also break 110 gold bricks. Feels good.
Ellie, I should know the location of their base soon.
That's great, Chase. What's holding you up?
My contact in Rex's gang wants me to do something up at the observatory first. But you could give Natalia the good news. If Rex has her dad, their base is where he'll be.
Well, I'll try, but I just got her answer machine. I think she's sick of me reminding her to walk my dog.
I'll call her myself later then.
So, before we actually hang up, we have a few other things I want to check out down the way. Oh, one other thing, there's something I just kind of want to pick up. So let's go do that, shall we? It's been teasing us a bit, we have just enough bricks for it. I'm sure you can probably guess what it is. There you are. But yeah, from here though, I really like the rest of the game's levels and story stuff from here. It's just that one particular one is kind of a sore spot for me. I feel like the writers could have taken a 6th day. And on that, I'll see you next time. Goodbye.